Ethan had always been a man of logic. As a professor of physics, he believed everything had a formula, a structure, an explanation. But lately, something felt off. Despite his success, a void lingered within him, an unshakable emptiness he couldn't explain. One evening, while walking home, he saw an old man sitting on a park bench, staring at the sky with a serene smile. "Beautiful night, isn't it?" the man said. Ethan nodded but felt an odd pull, as if there was more to the question than just the weather. The following day, Ethan couldn't shake the encounter. The old man's gaze had a depth that unsettled him. That morning he found a small, handwritten note on his office desk. "Look beyond what you see." There was no signature. He asked his students if they had left it, but no one admitted to it. As the day passed, he felt a strange curiosity growing within him. That evening, he returned to the park, hoping to see the old man again. Ethan found the old man exactly where he had been the previous night. "Back again?" the man chuckled. "You felt it, didn't you? The pull?" Ethan hesitated but nodded. The man gestured to the sky. "Tell me, Professor, what do you see?" Ethan sighed. "Stars, planets, cosmic dust. All measurable, all explainable." The old man smiled. "And yet, something inside you longs for more." Ethan couldn't deny it. "Who are you?" he asked. The man simply replied, "A seeker, just like you." Ethan found himself thinking about their conversation all day. That evening he returned again. "You study the universe," the old man said, "but have you ever studied yourself?" Ethan frowned. "I know myself well enough." The man chuckled. "Do you? Close your eyes." Ethan hesitated, then obeyed. "Listen, not to the world, but to yourself." At first, all he heard was the wind, but then something deeper, a silence, vast and endless, yet familiar. For the first time, Ethan felt small, not in the way science made him feel insignificant, but in a way that made him part of something greater. The old man's voice was gentle. "The universe isn't just out there, it's in here too." He placed a hand over Ethan's chest. "You measure distances between stars, but have you measured the distance between your thoughts?" That question stayed with him long after he left the park. The next morning, Ethan noticed things he usually ignored: the way sunlight reflected off his coffee, the rhythm of his breath, the sensation of his footsteps. It was all alive. That evening, he met the old man again. "You're beginning to see," the man said. "See what?" Ethan asked. The man smiled. "That life isn't just about understanding. It's about experiencing." Ethan sat in silence, just observing. The old man handed him a leaf. "Describe this." Ethan analyzed it scientifically, listing its biological structure. The old man laughed. "And yet, you still don't see it." Ethan furrowed his brows. "Look at it without thinking. Just see." Ethan tried. Slowly, something shifted. The leaf wasn't just an object. It was something else, something alive in a way he couldn't define. Days passed. Ethan found himself changing. He no longer rushed through life, but paused to feel it. One evening, the old man asked, "Do you still think everything can be explained?" Ethan hesitated. "I don't know anymore." The old man nodded. "Good. Now, you're ready to learn." That night, Ethan had a dream. He was floating in space, surrounded by stars, yet he wasn't separate from them. He was them. He woke up with his heart racing. When he told the old man about the dream, the man just smiled. "You're beginning to remember." Ethan's mind struggled with what he was experiencing. "But if everything is connected," he asked, "then what am I?" The old man's eyes twinkled. "You are everything, and yet nothing, like a wave in the ocean, individual, yet inseparable." Ethan began seeing the world differently. He no longer analyzed it. He felt it. One evening, as he watched the sunset, he realized he had spent his whole life looking outward, never inward. For the first time, he let go of the need to understand and simply existed. "What now?" Ethan asked. The old man chuckled. "Now you live." The man handed him a small book. Inside was a single line. "The only thing stopping you from seeing the truth is the belief that you don't already know it." Ethan returned to his classroom, but his lectures changed. He still taught physics, but now he spoke of wonder, of mystery, of things beyond equations. His students noticed. "You seem different, Professor," one said. Ethan smiled. "I suppose I am." Years passed. Ethan never saw the old man again, but his lessons remained. One evening, as he sat on his porch watching the stars, he felt that same vast silence inside him. He smiled, understanding at last. He had never been separate from anything. One day a young student approached him. "Professor, how do you find meaning in life?" Ethan looked at him, and with a gentle smile replied, "Stop searching so hard. Just be present. The answer has always been here."